Hello everyone. I hope I am audible. Welcome to Crowdfire's first webinar of the year, Mindful Marketing. I am Sam from Crowdfire, and you might have heard you might have read my name so many times on different emails that you receive. And I would like to tell you that the reason this webcam is not on is not because I am at home and in my PJs, but so that all of us can actually concentrate on the topic of the day without hogging a lot of internet. All right, we will be keeping it short. It would be 40 to 45 minutes of the webinar, and we will have 15 minutes of Q&A. So let's get started. The reason why I chose mindful marketing in tough times as one of or as the topic is because this is the time where things are really, tense, difficult, and for all of us marketers out there, it is a question that should I be saying this? Should I be advertising? If this tone is correct? We all are having these questions, and frankly, all of us are just trying to figure it out because no one has been in this situation before. So today we will be covering three things. That's the do's and the don'ts of marketing during crisis, how to navigate your way through these crises, and what is the way forward, like what is the future of this. It has been almost, so this entire year has been like that, but for most of us, through March, we've had really difficult times because a lot of cities, countries, places are in lockdowns, people are working from home, a lot of services are not available, a lot of industries have like completely stopped working. And so during these times, uh, in last 30 to 45 days, there are a lot of things which we have already figured out. But still, I would like to cover all of it as we go through it. So we'll take a glimpse at the do's and the don'ts first. But before that, let's start with what is mindful marketing. So mindful marketing is something where you actually read the room before you start you start marketing, you start the brand awareness part, you understand what the situation is like, and you see that how your audience is reacting, what state of mind they are in, and then go ahead with your marketing, right? And it is always a good idea to have this mindful marketing thing in your head. But right now, it is the most essential thing that you need to do. Because if at this point you say something or do something which is unacceptable in certain ways, then your audience is going to remember that. And that is something you don't want. All right. So, um, okay. Uh, I can I have this one comment which says my audio isn't working. Um, anyone out there except for one person here having trouble with my audios? Oh, okay. Thank you, Michelle. Thank you, Lisa. I'm sorry, Oana. Or I hope I pronounced the name correct. Thank you, Cyril. All right. Thank you so much. So I'll continue. Please, if anyone is having troubles, then reconnecting usually helps. I should usually. All right. So you know, um, all right. So that's the mindful marketing, and let's move from there to the do's and the don'ts. So there so we already had 40 days, or like some of us had more and some of us had less, but we had quite a bit of time to understand the situation, and I believe most of us have stopped the older automated messages which don't make any sense anymore, the events which were going to happen but were not happening. So those all those things have to be removed from your timeline. The other thing is to quickly actually get back to your board and create a new strategy for your social media. We will be talking about strategy time and again through this webinar. So there's that. And now is the right time to actually listen to your audience, see where they are actually hanging out, because they have enough time on their hands. You would be able to really figure it out that if they are on Facebook or on Instagram or LinkedIn or some other social networks, TikTok, well, that's something you will be able to figure out right now if you invest enough time into listening. Then there is the other important thing, which is to actually review every single bit of content which you have, which is going out, especially the ads. If ads are running and there are campaigns which say things which they shouldn't, that is something which has to be stopped immediately. All right. Now, on the other hand, something is very important here. Um, So from the don'ts list, one thing is don't be afraid to ask for help. That is the point number 5. You can screenshot this entire thing if you want. All right. So yeah, hey Adam, slides will be available later. I would be sending this over to you through the email. All right. So if you've stopped the paid advertising, and if you've completely gone off social or have stopped your marketing efforts, that is not going to help. If you're totally ignoring the social media strategy or also your content strategy for that matter, that is also something you should not do. This third one is really important, that is not to take advantage of the situation. I say this time and again that when you are in crisis and you take advantage of that situation, you actually become someone who is not loved. And a brand that is not loved, or an individual or an agency that is not loved, will never have that special place in the industry that they should. And I truly believe it from the bottom of my heart. So please do not take advantage of this situation. And if your client wants to take advantage of the situation, then this is when you will actually have to start talking to them. You'll have to make them understand that how all of this can have a negative effect on their branding. And because they have worked so much into the branding through this time, this is not the point where you should actually give up on it, right? So if it's your client, please make them understand. The other important thing is not to plan for the entire month. Why? Because we don't know. There are a lot of unknowns. We'll talk about it more. And, uh, and I'll be moving ahead to the next slide where we'll talk more about it. So as I said, don't plan for the entire month. Right now, from a month to month basis, from that we are moving towards a weekly kind of strategy. So here on Craft, this is Crowdfire's account, and I to manage this as well. So you can see that I have scheduled my posts through till Friday. That is because, a lot of new information is coming up, a lot of uh, fresh content can be created based on what is actually happening out there in the real world, you know and because of all these changes, if you plan for the entire month, you might have to rework a lot, and you don't want to do this. So it's better to go from 30 days to like 7 day of planning, or uh, a little more if you want, but just make sure that it's all relevant, and it always, like, it makes sense for your audience at any given point in time. Okay, so I have this example here. This is mm, you can see that you want to stay on top of your audience's mind, but you don't want to really annoy them, right? So it is a good practice to keep in touch with them through different ways, emails or SMSs, or social media, of course, but do it in a very moderate form. Like, moderation is the key here. You do not want to overdo it, or the whole crisis situation is going to pass away. It is going to pass the anyway. But whatever you are doing right now, your actions, people will remember those, and they will remember those for years. So instead of annoying your audience, do something really positive with your reach, with your strategy, something which actually would be remembered. All right. So a lot of us have seen this tweet, I hope, because it did go viral. It is about email marketing. And it makes sense to send email to your active users, the users who are users or customers, uh, the, who are your active customers, like who actually know you as a brand. But going to your database and actually emailing people who have once given you their email address is not going to have a good effect. So this is just a way of trying to. Everyone thought that it would actually wake up the stir the dead users, not, I'm sorry, the the users who or the consumers who were not responding to your brand. It would get them back, but it's just having a adverse, like, reverse effect. So no, don't do that. Instead, so this is a very beautiful example of email which I received from Neil Patel. Now, I I totally believe Neil Patel is one of the best marketers out there, and this email shows how authentic he is. Even if it was sent as an automation, or if it was sent to a lot of users, still, if you look at the content, you can feel it. You can see how the way it starts. You know, it just starts with this statement: I know many of you have been struggling, because I am. And that's when you feel it, that this marketer or this user also feels the same thing as um, as as us. it gives you that connection, and that's when you can actually, you know, connect to the brand, connect to the agency, connect to the um, business or whoever is emailing you. And yeah, so this is like a really good example of good email that is sent. All right, so those are some of the important do's and the don'ts. Next, we'll be going to the next section, which is navigating your way. Now, for a different niche, it would be different, because if you are into travel, hospitality, or any of these niches where things are very, very difficult, it is going to be a completely different kind of struggle versus someone who is having a very different kind of problem, where actually the users or the customers have increased, and then they have like a totally different kind of problem there. All right, so this is going to be very different for different niches, but in the end, the core idea is to do few or most of these things, and that's how you're going to, tread your way through this. Okay, so again, we will go one by one in each of the. Yeah, so this is quite interesting. Airbnb usually posts a lot of posts about the Airbnbs that they have, and those are like beautiful Airbnbs where you really want to stay and all of that. But because right now that's not the right time to say something like this, and because they've understood that that would not help their strategy. So this is what they have actually started doing. And if you look at the caption, if you can read the caption, you would see, you can actually feel it. You can feel it. See, in March, all the hosts all over the world had to stop doing what they loved. And it is really difficult to stop doing something you love, but then genuinely doing these kind of things and posting them on your social network is going to help you connect with your users or your customers. So these are all the different activities which Airbnb is doing right now till the crisis phase is not over, and then there will be another recovery phase again. So similarly, I've seen this really amazing Decathlon Sports India does this, has started this actually in April. It's uh, Olympics. Okay, Olympics 2020, and there were quite interesting activities which happened in Olympics, where people had to do different different things, different kind of uh, games, and they had to create videos. So with this concept, they cracked UGC, they cracked their story engagement completely. They The entire idea was also to stay on top of everyone's feed, and this helps them do that as well. Now, all of this has actually gotten them more engagement, more impressions, more views, and have helped them reach a wider audience who would come back to them mostly when the entire thing is over. Until then, these are the important things which we as a brand need to do. All right, so that is number one. The second thing is to find a balance between these two contents. So we can see that this is going to continue, and it is probably going to be there for next month or the month after. We really do not know how long is the situation going to be like this, and we can't be posting the content which is focused only on COVID-19, right? So you will still need to create regular content which is your niche, and I cannot stress on this enough. You have worked so hard to actually build a brand, or to actually, you know, be on the blogs and the SEO, all of this. You have worked so hard to rank your pages. So you cannot really stop creating it completely. You will have to find innovative ways to still talk about your niche, and and at the same time talk about the COVID information and all of that. I have also started using Canva and InVideo to create visual content and also Engage, right? So I have started using these tools because they make creating these content really simple. There are a lot of pre-made templates specifically for COVID-19, and this is not an advertisement. I truly love Canva. This presentation is also made on Canva. So creating all that content should take less of your time versus actually creating content which is of your niche. So do not completely abandon that. Start, keep the momentum going there, or at least stay like create something. Then here's the thing, customer service. Customer service, it is this will be applicable for not all of the niches again. Some of us do not have the entire customer service part where we are when where you have a creator or someone, yeah, basically creators. So there you'll have engagement instead of customer support. But so you can take engagement and customer support as one here. This stat is something I found really interesting, that the use of Twitter DM has also gone high. One of the reasons why this can be is because the phone support is now not that easy with the situation that is right now. The phone support is actually has actually become difficult, and that is why um, the social media support is actually now a more important thing. So keep helping your customers, your users, and also, so I actually was a part of a Twitter chat recently, which was hosted by Social Media Today. And these points like be honest, be polite, be helpful, transparent, and only make the promises you keep was gist of one of the questions which was there on the chat. It's a really interesting chat. And these are the times where we need support of each other as much as we need, you know, work. So there are three places which have been really important for me. Social Media Today's Twitter channel and their website. Social Media Geek Out, a Facebook group which is by Matt Navarra, and there is one more social media managers channel on Facebook. These three places are really helpful places where you can ask questions, get a lot of help from our social media managers community, and everyone is helping each other. It is so amazing. It is mind blowing that actually people take so much time out to help you out with simple questions that you have. So in these are the places I would say you should also be, you know, checking out. I will be taking the questions in the end. So, and if you do not stay till the end, I will also be making a list of all the questions which were asked during this webinar and sending it to you in the follow-up email, because I do understand that attending a complete live webinar is not that simple, given that we are at home, the internet connection. I can tell you that if someone knocks my door right now, I might have to open it and things like that. And we are with our family, right? So yeah, getting back to customer support is really important. Proactive customer support is something which I think is going to be a norm in the future. You have to go and ask your customers, your users. You have to like actually get the words out of them, that how do they feel about your product, your service, or anything. I'd also answer this good question: is it okay posting content about how COVID affects my market? um, it is okay to post this with the hashtag. The problem is that the specific hashtag COVID-19 is actually something which is used by the official services, the officials, and that's why they get a higher weightage. But it is absolutely okay to post your content. I hope that answers your question. Okay, the fourth one is focus on listening. Again, so I have been scheduling my posts for last 10 years now, and I always thought scheduling posts is one of the most important things that we do. Um, so, but I have been finding myself these days more on mentions and social mentions and listening tabs which we have on Crowdfire. Okay, so just a second. All right. Okay, so Lucy was not able to hear me, and I'm just trying to also help her because I really want all of you to hear me. And otherwise, what would be the point of just yay? Thank God, Lucy is now able to hear me. And you're welcome, G. Olivati. I'm sorry, I cannot pronounce your name. Okay. And yes, I will be sending the link of this presentation as well to all of you. And I'm also going to send it to anyone not who has not been able to join, because we can understand the situation is like that. All right. So okay, as I was saying, I have been focusing on listening, and the mentions is social media mention bit a lot more these days than any other thing. Okay, the most important reason behind this is because when you try to listen, which is web listening or social listening as we know it, we actually get to know where our audience is, where our audience really is. Because whenever you read any of the social media strategy creation blog posts, you would see first point would be know your audience, understand your audience, right? So listening is the way to actually find your audience. And if you actually listen to them, you go and you see that where they are hanging, you will also be able to get an overall feel of how they are affected, how they are feeling right now. Because how they are feeling is very, very, very important. Also, if you can go back and listen to what they had been saying earlier, say 30 days ago, or 60 days ago, or 90 days ago, you could, if you can go back, you would also be able to understand the sentiment they have for your service, your brand, your product, whatever, your business. And if you are an individual, or if you are a creator, or if the brand is comparatively smaller and you think that listening will not actually give you a complete picture because you're not that famous, then the other thing which you can do is listen to what people are talking about, the the influencers in your field, or actually the micro influencers of your field. That way you would know that what is in demand and what can you supply or create. All right. um, okay. And the third thing is, so after you've known your audience completely, you can actually see how you can help them, or you can actually tell them that you exist, because that is also, brand awareness is very important, right? Now we have been going live. A lot of folks have been going live. A lot of brands have been going live. Influencers are live. Artists are live. Everybody is live. Why? Because that is the next best thing after the real life events. And yes, focusing on videos is good. Going live is good, but only like understanding that this is a complete process and you are not going to go live just like that. That is very important. You have to create a prop. I just see that Mr. D Bhattacharya's question is the same, so I'd also be answering it along with this. So going live, um, you know helps you in a way where you can actually show these events, or the functions which were going to happen now with your lives or with your videos. And a really, really amazing example of this is the Fashion Week. Yeah, Shanghai Fashion Week, which was actually hosted digitally this year, and it had 2.5 million viewers within the first 3 hours. We are just talking about first 3 hours. We're not even going at, like, you know later on what was the condition. So yeah, so that way live is the next best thing you can do, but you need to plan it. You actually need to convert the entire thing into something where, see, right now I am live, this is a webinar, and for this I planned in advance, like a week in advance, maybe a little more. I'm not going to tell you that. I planned in advance. I sent emails to you. So that was a complete process, right? And you will have to follow that process for a lot of your events. When you do this, you will also realize that these events, these lives, um, are also going to cost you less in terms of your budget. So if you were going to have a grand IRL event, then it would also be saving you a lot of budget, which you can then allocate to something else. That is only in case you actually have that kind of budget. All right. So this is just a continuation of this, find innovative solutions, you know, because okay, again, this is an example of JD.com. JD.com actually got clubbing inside houses. Yes, so they started after a while when lockdown situation was not that bad. Um, these Jerry.com partnered with record labels, international brands, and they delivered stuff home and had live event streaming. So people could actually party at home. It is a very innovative solution. Maybe it is not a permanent solution, but at this point of time, that is something which is better than not having anything, right? So and this is the sixth one. This is for people, for folks, for anyone who is seeing loss of income, who is seeing that events or bigger ways of getting paychecks are now going away. So again, create gated content. And the reason I say be reasonable is because you want to make sure that the most number of people actually use your gated content, and you know and you are actually able to turn it into something, because this is not something temporary. You are not going to do it only for now. This is something which can be taken as the way of life from here on. And we are not sure what the normal would be, but this is one thing which we can do. So you know it should be done. All right. So, um, what's the way forward? We are at the last point here now. What is the way forward? Um, we have a lot of brands talking about COVID, right? What can actually brands talk about? So, because brands or influencers, creators, marketers, all of us, we do not have those the right degrees to really say things which are very technical. So most of the brands have been talking about social distancing. They have been talking about hygiene practices, and that's pretty much it. And here is a breakdown which you can see. Okay. So, and especially the other thing which you need to notice is brands are taking on Twitter to talk about all this versus, and then second is Instagram, and then there is Facebook. I would still say Instagram has way better ROI as compared to Twitter any day. Okay, so if you are going to put extra efforts into creating something, doing something, I would say focus more on Instagram content versus Twitter content even today. All right. So that's it. Okay, this is Crowdfire. So always, it doesn't matter if it was yesterday or like today or before crisis, after crisis, always keep creating content which is useful. Because if there is content lying there on web which you have created, which someone is going to find, they like it, and if they find that it is good quality content, then they are going to share it, read it, and actually talk about it. So you can see the top numbers are from the last month, which is like last 30 days, and the bottom numbers which you see are from the last 30 days. And you can see what the massive difference in overall numbers. So always keep on creating useful content, because at some point there is going to be someone who's going to read this content. Okay. And as I said earlier, that I would come back to the new strategy point, and it is important. You know how when you create a social media strategy, there is one point which always is that analyze and then analyze and adjust. A lot of marketers would use these words, analyze and adjust. So this is the time where the first thing we need to do is analyze and adjust our current strategies. And the other thing which is important is to keep on creating quality content. And the third thing, which we already spoke about, is not to focus all our energy into creating moment content. Why? Because tomorrow, after the recovery, we will not really benefit from the content which we have created right now. All right. So keep on creating content for your niche. And this one is a point which I really wanted to say, that keep communicating with your users, with your folks. Like, use Instagram stories. Don't overuse it, but use Instagram stories or other social media channels, or LinkedIn, whatever is your network. Use it to communicate with your users, your followers, your audience, your customers. They need to hear from you. And if recently there is something which I have added to my list of tasks, is actually going out and asking our users also on Twitter different questions about like how they are feeling, and all these like some good to know questions, so that we can actually have good conversations. And I am also planning to have a Twitter chat on similar topic next Thursday. I'll be emailing y'all about that as well, but I just wanted to say. So that's how you like keep communicating with users. Don't go silent. If you go silent, then it is, first of all, as people out there have a lot of options. So if you go silent, you won't be missed as much. You probably would be forgotten, and you don't want that. So that's why keep communicating. We're just about to end this now. So, will the user pattern change? Yes, it will change. And actually, see, I said most likely it will change. It will change in the ways we will start seeing things in different light. We'll think differently about events. We will think differently about the way we spend our money. Users, and you have to think of it this way, that you are a marketer, but you are also a consumer at some levels. Okay, at different levels, you are also a consumer. And so, how would you feel about a certain things? That is how you would understand and what you should be talking about, right? So that way, the consumer, the pattern is going to change. And that's why you already know that this is going to happen, so you might as well plan for it. And this is okay. So from crisis to going through the crisis, like the start of the crisis to going through the crisis to the phase of recovery, once the new normal is formed, what happens then? So it still remains the same. You will still have to listen more. You will have to actually spend more time listening to the entire situation so that you can speak. So here to speak, you'll have to listen more. And experiment mindfully. The reason I keep on using the word mindfully so much is because being human, you know, being human, being mindful when you communicate as a brand, also as uh, a creator, it makes a lot of difference. It helps you connect with your audience more, and that is probably one of the most important things in our marketing world, that you want to connect with your audience, and the best way to do it is by being very mindful. And yeah, the last thing is to again analyze and adjust, as I said earlier, because to keep analyzing the situation and adjusting your strategy accordingly. Are we out of the time? Yeah, almost there. So this is just something I wanted to tell you. No one knows how to deal with the entire situation. Like, we don't know, because uh, our patient levels are going to be tested. Are For some of us, it's already a test of patience. For some of us, it's a very, very difficult time, and we really don't know, because no one else has actually been through this. So it's difficult to deal with the situation. And but all we can do is be more patient, be more kind, be empaths, and be really, really mindful. So if you there are a few questions which I'll take, but if you have any questions, you can still type them in the box, and I'll take those as well. Thank you so much for all your time, for listening to me. And if you have any questions, or if you want to connect, you can tweet to Crowdfire at the rate Crowdfire, or um, I am I Spiritualist. I would also be sending this in the follow-up email, so I guess that should be okay. Now let me go through the questions once. All right. The slides will be available. I'll be sending those slides. I'll be sending this entire thing, and you'll be seeing. So yeah, now I guess you can see me and my house. All right. So the slides would be available. Yes. Would there be? Yes, the link to the presentation will be sent. Yes, Rehan. Okay, I'm so glad I pronounced the name correctly. Thank God. Okay, so yeah, is it a good time to go live on social media right now? I am an author, and I see a lot of creators going live. So a lot of creators are going live, yes, and it is a good time to go live, yes. As I said, it is very, very important to plan the entire live thing. You can use the sticker which is used to uh, what is it called? Let me just get it. So there is this sticker on Instagram which actually shows that when is this countdown sticker. Yes, so I found it. So yes, I'm not quite sure, but yeah, countdown sticker like this. You can use that and a few other story stickers and a proper announcement, and all of that. Create some nice creatives using Instagram itself. Stories actually has a lot of interesting ways to market yourself out there. The other thing I would like to say is that if you find that Facebook works for you better than Instagram, then go live there. It's the same thing. And it is very interesting how Instagram has come up with so many new features recently just to make it a lot easier for us to stay connected with our audience. And during these times, it is best to use these. Now, as an author, I would also say that you could be reading a few things which you have written. You can actually get guests to come to your lives, and um, you can have bigger chats, longer chats, make it more interesting. That is the idea. One of the most interesting Q&As I have actually seen is by Miley Cyrus. It is called Bright Minded, and the tune just gets into your head. If you want to be bright minded, it starts like that, and it is really interesting. So yeah, do something which is very interesting, and that's how you will actually get more people to listen to you. Okay, thank you for the invite. Okay, you're welcome, George. There is another technical question. While going live on Instagram, is an earphone necessary? Because I tried, I wasn't said as in. Okay, let me read this question. While going live on Instagram, is an earphone necessary? Because I tried once and everyone said I was not audible and I had to hold the speaker to my mouth while talking. It depends on the kind of environment you are in. If you are in a room, most of the times not having a speaker is okay, but wearing earphones is probably, you know, the best thing to do. It is good to have your earphone and yeah, so you probably don't have to hold it all the time. It could also be because of some technical problem. So you can try it again and and give it a shot one more time and see how it goes. But most of the times it is always okay. And remember, the people who actually want to listen to what you are saying, they will. And this also reminds me, there was a really nice Federer and Nadal live video. If you have seen that, you'd see that there are parts which are not really audible, but the audience doesn't really care about so much of quality of the video, or the the quality of voice. And it is okay because these lives are not really like all planned and all, right? All right, so thank you. Oh my God, I just am really really glad for all the thank yous. Yeah, so Gwen actually has a lot of other things to say about Instagram, like the stay at home sticker, the thank you art. All of these things are uh, actually really awesome. Thank you art is also something which would help you show your gratitude. Plus, it would actually help showcase your account in the top of the stories. So those are like good things because you should be grateful, right? Best time in day to go live. What is the best time in the day to go live? Given that right now we are in kind of situation where it is difficult to understand what time it is or what day it is, it has become really difficult. But most of the people, if your life is not something which is part of someone's work, weekends and either the evening time where people just finish working and want to do something to get fresh, or something at around 9 p.m. is good time for lives. And if it is something which is also going to be a part of their work, then 10 to 11 a.m. also works. So there are people who are still working, they are working from home. So do not start your live in the middle of the day. Also remember that yes, live audience is important, but your audience will be able to see this live for like next next 24 hours, and you can always save it and post it on IGTV. That way you are repurposing your content, because if you create some content once, you should be repurposing it as much as you can. All right, so that, I hope that answers your question. Okay, all right, so Uh, and thank you so much for your messages, Lucy. It means a lot to me, and I would definitely be sharing these slides, and I would be sending you the entire recording of this. So don't worry. Thank you all for your time, for joining in, and I hope that you learned something here. And if you ever have any other questions, you can @ me at Crowdfire. I am the one who replies through Crowdfire Twitter, so I will see that. All right. And thank you. So let's take one mindful 5-second breathe in, stop, breathe out, stop. That's a block breathing. And then we all can go back to our day. All right. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Thank you. Thanks for being here. All right. So that's it. Bye.